Welcome back. Now, a student was recently expelled from a nursing institution in northern Namibia following a Tik-Tok in which she is seen singing and dancing while in a nurse uniform. Now, her expulsion caused mixed emotions among the nation, with some calling it unfair and unjust, stating that she did not tarnish the disrepute, the image of the institution, nor does it speak to a professionalism. Now, to unpack the situation from a legal standpoint, it's a legal practitioner from the Legal Assistance Center that joins us on the line, Chloe Brandt. Good morning, Madam Brandt, and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Morning. Thank you so much.
Okay. Firstly, would you say perhaps in your opening engagement with us this morning that with regards to this situation, were there any human rights that were violated?
Yes, from the onset, I would just like to clarify that this particular incident is an issue of suspension and not an expulsion.
No.
Suspension that is a bit more temporary, a short period of time, and not an expulsion that would mean permanent sort of dismissal from the premises of the institution. So the student is suspended. And in this case, if you consider the grounds on which she was suspended, then I would say there is a clear violation of her human rights, particularly that which is in Article 20 of our Constitution, her right to education, amongst other rights.
Okay. Now, would it have been different if it was an expulsion vis-a-vis a suspension?
The violation of her rights would not per se be different, but I think it is important to, since it is a matter of public interest and the nation is now aware of what's happening out there, just clarify that it is a suspension and not an expulsion that would be have a more serious effect.
Okay. Now, in your opinion and from your professional standpoint of view, was it right for the institution to suspend the student on the basis in which they did?
The institution only has 3 grounds for suspending this particular student, namely singing on social media in uniform and tarnishing the name of the institution. On that ground, she was not singing on social media. If you were to take singing on social media at face value, she does not even have an account on the particular social media platform, which is TikTok. If you by consultation with her and sort of eliciting, doing a thorough investigation on what actually took place, you will realize that that social media platform allows anybody, just anybody, to sort of screen record videos, screenshot images, and share it on their respective accounts. So that account does not belong to her. Instead, she was recording by her own phone. She was doing it for herself in February 2023, for private use, and she has never intended it to be made public. So this was then later uploaded on that platform by another person without her consent, and it was impossible for her to prevent the circulation and rapid accumulation of the views of the video, especially in light of the notoriously low privacy standards of that social media platform, TikTok. So on that ground alone, I'm of the opinion that it really wasn't right for the institution to suspend her. Another thing that is worth mentioning on that offense, that first offense that they cite of her singing on social media in her uniform, is that while she was wearing clothes that resemble the uniform of that institution, no school logo or any lettering linking her to the school is visible in that video. So there is no conclusive proof that she was, in fact, in uniform in that video. So it would also mean that the institution was not recognized. She was not recognizable as a student of the institution. So already the grounds are a bit shaky. There was no investigation done. And then tarnishing the name of the institution would require her to perform actions that could, in fact, have damaging effects on the institution. But surely innocently singing on social media, having a jolly time, shouldn't count as a tarnishment of the institution or bringing the institution into disrepute.
So there was no thorough investigation done. There was no tarnishing of the institution's image. This person wasn't wearing perhaps even the uniform of the institution as you indicated. What then would have been the correct procedure to be carried out by institution instead of immediately suspending the student?
I think, look, all students, the school, before we now shed or sort of point at the school as the villain in the picture, the institution, like many schools, is trying to promote good behavior. So when behavior is good, the school gets a high standard, and everybody benefits from that. So the school does have a right, a legal right, to impose reasonable sanctions if any people misbehave. But the due process, the procedure that should have been followed, in my opinion, and legally so, would have been to sort of call for a disciplinary hearing, because there is you have a right to be heard. Your side of the story needs to be heard. It seems what happened on social media was taken as it is, and it was regarded as you are tarnishing the institution's name, the image of the institution. So you would want to reprimand a student. Other sanctions, to exhaust all sorts of sanctions, call in the parents, have a disciplinary hearing, remove her from a class or a group of people, or loss of privileges if there are any. For nursing students, I believe there are quite a number of privileges. And then, as opposed to a suspension, give a written warning, a verbal warning. 3 or 4 of those warnings would then warrant a suspension at the end of the day. So that due process was not followed.
Does this then perhaps set a precedent as to how we should deal with future cases, and especially considering that this institution possibly might be having its own code of conduct and to how to regulate the behavior when it comes to their students?
I would say not so much, particularly because there is no court order or judgment on this matter. It has not escalated to that level. So judicial precedent and using that as an example from a legal perspective for us lawyers would be if there was a judgment. Right now, it is a public situation. Everybody is making noise about this because we did see the circulation of the video and we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So it wouldn't necessarily count as an example of how to deal with things from a strict legal perspective. But it is certainly a significant example and a recurring issue. This is one of those that we are aware of, but there's so many undercover, unlawful suspensions, illegal expulsions. And on a serious note, people just removed from their workplaces, unfairly so, dismissed unfairly so. So it is definitely a significant example if we are going to have a chat surrounding suspensions, expulsions, but not per se judicial precedent or yet.
Okay. Now, what is the current circumstances of this matter, and is the Legal Assistance Center representing the student?
So we were approached on the 17th of May, that is Monday, when she was suspended by NANSO, whom she approached because they really stand for students and all things representing students and their rights. So they approached us and they asked us to intervene in at least writing a letter to the institution. And I took this matter on. But while the letter is drafted, it never went out to the institution just yet because we felt it is a very sensitive matter that requires parents to at least say something. It is not like an unfair dismissal at work where immediate legal action should be taken because we are wasting time. But we have engaged her parents and they will have their separate engagement with the school, get feedback from if the school after that engagement is still not amenable to revoking the suspension, then we can intervene. But as it stands, there is no legal action taken, no letter of demand sent out, and we are allowing parents to do what I think parents should do.
Okay. Well, Chloe, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Only a pleasure.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, that was Chloe Brandt, who is a legal practitioner at the Legal Assistance Center, talking to us about a recent incident that has been making its way in terms of social media and that also drawing public opinion concerning a student who was suspended by institution after appearing in a TikTok video on different social media platforms.